too strong, but nonetheless, you could see the portions of trees and the leaves all being swirled around, and that's a problem. This picks up anything that's on the ground that's loose or potentially could be ripped off, and then it throws it into other things like buildings and siding and cars, and that becomes a danger. You have these flying projectiles if you're outside, and you can get hit by them and really, you know, picture a big branch being thrown at you and just falling off a tree, it can kill you. Obviously, if it's moving at 75, 80 miles an hour with wind, you can imagine what that can do. So, again, the best place to be is inside a reinforced building. A lot of the folks that were taking video there doing so safely from inside. I'd advise you probably to get away from windows, get away from doors. That's going to be the best idea for you. Tornado warning does continue now until 3:15 p.m. Edgemere, north and east toward Breezy Point Beach, as well as Miami Beach. Bully's Quarters also included in that warning. And then up to Chase and Edgewood is kind of the edge of where that warning is. So let's go ahead. We're going to pull this on to our storm relative velocity. And again, you can see where the heaviest of the winds are. Not getting a huge indicator here of circulation at this point, but I got a feeling that since this moved over the bay and this moved over the Patapsco, and some folks have seen kind of a water spout form with it as it came through Annapolis with the tornado. Then, of course, a tornado over water is your water spout. You know, they've gone ahead and issued another warning as this has moved onshore. Hopefully the circulation diminishing a little bit as it goes onshore, but nonetheless, we can't promise you that. We're not on the ground there, but we do see on our radar that it's up to about 38-mile-an-hour winds going towards the radar site, 40-mile-an-hour winds here in that bright green. So that's an estimate of the winds just above ground. If there's a tornado, they can be significantly higher than that. Also, I want to take a look at what we call the shear swath. That shows you where the potential of rotation came through. And you can really see the path of this thing all the way from way down here into St. Mary's, really west of Chesapeake Beach. Here it is. I mean, unbelievable. This is kind of a long track where you see that bright green. That's where we've had indication of spin, if you will, with this potential and actually, in this case, with this tornadic producing cell. We have actually had video and pictures of it coming in. I'm not used to saying that around here because a lot of times we don't get pictures. We do damage surveys the next day and we see that potential, you know, rotation or spin that we had. Here we're getting pictures of a tornado on the ground. So this has occurred. There has been a tornado with the cell that is now warned up into southern Baltimore County, where we have that, again, tornado warning that expires at 3:15 p.m. Let's go ahead. Again, we'll zoom in a little bit closer. You can see, again, here is a trail of where we can expect to possibly see some damage all the way west of Annapolis. You can see, again, some of the stronger returns in the red. All the way up to Carriage Hills and just north and west of Annapolis, west of Arcadia, some of the stronger returns as well. And then now going all the way up into southern and eastern Baltimore County up toward Bully's Quarter. So I would not be surprised to see this eventually extend up into Harford County as well. It's about there up towards that Edgewood, Edgemere area right now. Again, this is going to be in effect until 3:15, the tornado warning until 3:15 p.m. in the area of southeastern Baltimore County. Not too far here from some pretty populated areas, again, around Essex and Dundalk, but really more so just to the east of all the shopping and the malls here around White Marsh and Nottingham. Right there toward, again, the eastern sections of Essex up to about Edgewood is where we're seeing this come through right now. Let's zoom in tight. And again, if you can get away from windows in your safe place, if you could still listen to us on, I'm sure we're putting this through on Facebook. We're also putting this through on our website. So you can go ahead and take your device with you wherever you're going, down into your basement or up into, you know, an interior room or a bathroom, and you can still get the information, the life-saving information that you need as these storms come through. Porter's Park, south and east to Hyde Park to Breezy Point Beach. Some of these communities here, folks may be out trying to enjoy a day on the water, and unfortunately, it is time, and hopefully you already did it a long time ago, to get on shore. When you had these tornado watches come out a couple of hours ago, hopefully all of the craft here on the rivers and some of these creeks and as well the Chesapeake Bay hopefully got in to port, because at this point, is getting a little late with the tornado warning that continues in effect until 3:15 p.m. Again, let's go ahead and pull up our cone, and you can see again the storm cell is moving off to the north and east at about 35 miles an hour. So Bully's Quarters at about 310, Edgewood about 325, and Joppatown about 330, getting the potential of this cell kind of scratching its way right along the shoreline, the western shoreline of the Chesapeake Bay. And at least you're seeing winds of probably about 40 to 50 miles an hour out of this. And at worst, you're going to be seeing a potential tornado. We've already had some imagery coming in as this cell moved its way across Anne Arundel County, and there has been an observed tornado as it's moved on shore around the Fort Howard area here. So right now, we've got Shelley Ormond, who's actually on the phone. She is driving through portions of Baltimore County. Actually, see, it looks like you're in our storm tracker there. How are things going?
Hi, Jonathan. Yeah, we just left the station, so we're still in North Baltimore right now. And it's actually, as soon, of course, as we got the car loaded up and we start heading out, the rain kind of tapers off a little bit right here. But we're heading up to Dundalk, Edgemere, Essex area right now. We're going to be driving up there. I just came in from the county, from like Fairgrounds area, and that was not a fun drive. 83, it was just water pooling all over the road. And it was definitely not a fun drive. It was hard to see at time, everybody putting on their flashers. I don't think anybody was going more than 50 miles per hour on 83 as we were heading south into the city here, which was good because I was slowing down to 40, even 30 at parts of it because the rain was just coming down so heavy at times. But thankfully tapering off a little bit right now, but it is still raining. But we are heading up towards Essex, Dundalk, Edgemere. We're going to be driving up there right now, and we'll be updating you as soon as we get up there. But of course, not sure how long it's going to take us because we're going to keep going slow, especially with these roads right here still being so covered with water right now. Jonathan?
All right, Shelley, thank you very much. And it looks like you're moving your way onto 83 there to get out there toward Baltimore County. So, yeah, as you were saying, Shelley, you got to stay slow, and that's the safest way to be. And if you don't have to be on the road, you know, we're prepared. We're reporting here. So, you know, we may be out there looking at some of this stuff, but you know, if you don't have to be on the road, that is certainly going to be the way to go. Interior room, away from windows, especially, again, where we have this tornado warning that continues now until 3:15 p.m. in southeastern Baltimore County. And we have had some damage that's occurred, and pretty impressive pictures really coming in here with Maxine Stryker over at our smartboard on our Twitter feed. What are we seeing? Well,
yeah, inevitably, Jonathan, after seeing all those videos with the tornado and all the debris flying in the air, we were going to see some damage. This coming from Ion Annapolis, it says West Street damage, and take a look at that picture here along West Street. You can see down power lines, cars caught up in all of this, signs that have been blown over, a lot of debris on the road. A lot of people over here on the right of your screen appearing to be okay. Hopefully no one was injured as these giant power lines came down here, as well as all the signs and other debris on the road. Again, West Street in Annapolis. That is where we're seeing all of these incredible images and videos that have been coming in over the past hour from viewers. Got another video here to show you. Also in this right here is heavy rain heading towards the Annapolis area right now. And another new video here, circular motion, it says, on South River. Another video of this tornado over water. It says on Church Creek with my sister, taking shelter in the basement. But there again, you can see all of that debris flying in the air, the circular motion there in the top of your screen. And now we're starting to see those pictures come in with the damage that this tornado has caused. And as Jonathan has mentioned, it's not that often that we get to see videos like this. So if you are outside right now, take shelter. If you are able to take video, make sure that you're doing it safely. You can send it to us here on Twitter or via Chime In, and we will take a look at them and show them here online. But safety, of course, is the #1 priority. Stay away from the windows, the doors. Just get inside and be as careful as you can, especially as we're starting to see, again, this incredible damage that's being left behind in Annapolis tonight. There's another look at that picture. Jonathan?
Again, Maxine, you can really see there, number one, how isolated it can be. You can just have no wind just down the street, and then you can have lines and, you know, it looks like hurricane damage.
Right. From here on up, it looks
area.
fine.
Yeah, so you look in the foreground and, you know, in the background, it's okay. And then where that tornado came through, incredible damage. And I do want to also let folks know, as she's got that picture up there, that if you're near power lines, those are likely still energized. So, you know, if you're standing in water and those power lines are right near you, you can easily, just like they say, you know, don't do your hair dryer near the bathtub. Same thing. Those power lines can electrocute you. So I see folks kind of collecting and standing there, and I know the damage is wild. But, you know, again, as Maxine said, safety is the primary thing here. You do not want to really be outside in this stuff if you don't have to be. If you can get pictures that are, you know, in a safe place, fine. But otherwise, we want you inside. We want you in that interior room. We want you away from the windows. And even if you see stuff that looks like, wow, that's wild damage. We've got power lines down and signs down, that kind of thing, trees down. You want to keep a safe distance away from that because you can easily get electrocuted, and that could mean the worst for you. So, again, if you see down power lines, down trees, you want to kind of keep your distance. Now, let's see. HD radar still showing us here. We're going to go ahead and looks like we took a big zoom out here. Let's take a look back back a little bit closer. Again, we'll go into our metro area. And there you can see, again, here in Baltimore, we've got some heavy rain that continues to fall. We've had, again, some possible tornadic activity that continues to traverse. This is with that same cell that moved its way over the Annapolis area. I mean, over Annapolis, West Street. That is Annapolis. So moved over Annapolis with a tornado and damage. And now a tornado warning continues for that same cell up around Miami Beach, Breezy Point Beach. We've got a picture not too far away. It probably should be a lot better here. I believe this is 95, White Marsh area. And you see it has rained pretty good here, and I think cars are moving a little too fast, if you ask me. You really got to slow down with these torrential downpours around. Hydroplaning can happen extremely easily as you're going over some of these areas that may have, you know, 1 to 3 inches of rain in an hour's time. So you need to slow down. And really, if you don't have to be on the roads, with tornado watches out until this evening, and we've had multiple tornado warnings this afternoon, this is the time to get inside. If you got to go pick up the kids, if they've been sheltered in place at school, I know school just beginning in the past couple of days. My kids were sheltered in place until I know at least 3 o'clock. The last time I talked to my wife, who was going to pick them up in Anne Arundel County, you know, go get them and then head on back home and spend some time inside and be close to your safe place. Because although here at White Marsh doesn't look so bad, just down the road, and we saw some pictures around that Annapolis area where, I mean, you got a Burger King sign that's standing just fine, and then, you know, a couple feet away, it looks like all heck is broken loose. And that's going to be the same situation as some of these cells come through. So you don't really know where these tornadoes could potentially hit. There is still that tornado warning in effect. Again, these areas not quite as populated as the south central Anne Arundel County area that just got slammed with a tornado, again, in Annapolis, Parole area, now around Holly Beach, Miami Beach, Seneca Park. These spots still seeing the potential of at least waterspouts and tornadoes right along the shoreline of the Chesapeake Bay. So this continues now until 3:15 p.m. This is a tornado warning for 3:15 p.m. in this area. These all are moving, all these cells that are coming through at about 35 miles an hour or so. We'll go ahead. I want to pull up Sterling's radar, take a look at the storm relative velocity, see if we can get a picture of any couplet here. And we'll zoom nice tight in here so you can get a better picture too. There's been some winds again in this tornado warning area, in this brighter green, about 31 miles an hour out of this potentially rotating cell in this area. It is moving to the north and east at about 35 miles an hour. So again, this is just above ground that we're measuring this. If there were a tornado that came out of it, it'd be at the ground. It'd be tighter circulating, just like, again, I mentioned it a couple of times here, but a figure skater that's kind of doing, you know, a spin, if you will, pulling her arms in or pulling his arms in. And when that happens, you notice they go faster and faster. Well, you have a circulating storm cell, and then within that you have a potential tornado that develops. Sounds like we've got another tornado warning coming in, or it's a renewal of this initial. Oh, looks like there it is. This is the next tornado warning now until 3:45 p.m. That's in that White Marsh area that we just showed you around Middle River and Essex. A little more concerning now because this is in an area that is a little more populated. Of course, we've got the IKEA there. We've got the White Marsh Mall. So these are Costco. These areas, they have big shopping areas, big flat roofs that can easily be peeled back if folks are in the swath of a potential tornado. So, Jasmine, have we had an observed tornado with this right now here, White Marsh down to Essex?
This one is only radar indicated.
Okay. All right, and that's moving also, I would assume, northeast at 35 or so?
So that one's actually moving north at 25 miles per hour.
Okay, so we've got this warning until 3:45 p.m. from White Marsh to Middle River and Essex. That cell is moving north and east at about 25, and then the cell just to the east of it moving to the north and east at about 35 miles an hour. So we're going to go ahead and put on the reflectivity of the radar. I want to show you some of the towns that potentially could be impacted by this. Just a very, very unusually active tornado day. Not that we weren't prepared for this. We have been in that 3 of 5 enhanced risk of severe weather for the day today. But again, this cell, basically Dundalk, Essex up to Perry Hall. You can even kind of see, again, kind of arcing back toward Baltimore, what appears to be kind of this curlicue. That's kind of what we look for in terms of the rainfall patterns when you do have a tornado or a potential tornado that is on the ground. And you can, again, see in this area the rain kind of curling back. So that's where I would think that there is likely, let's go ahead to the storm relative velocity, is a potential spin-up tornado. And again, sometimes in these tropical type situations where you have remnants of a tropical storm, you're not going to see the circulation exactly, which we did, by the way, when we were looking down Annapolis way. But in this case, we're not seeing the circulation. Sometimes it's kind of a weak signature, if you will. But I'm going to go ahead, pop here to, let's see, in this area right there, winds of at least about 47 to 50 miles an hour south of Battle Grove right now. So some of these kind of smaller subdivisions, et cetera. But looks like that, again, is going to be moving its way northeast at 25 miles an hour. We do have Elise Armacost on the phone, and we're going to get to her in a second. I just want to go ahead and show you some of the towns that potentially could be impacted by this radar-indicated tornado that has just been given a tornado warning. Essex at about 3:20, 3:24. Rossville, Middle River at about 3:25 or so. White Marsh, Bowley's Quarters about 3:30. And Bowley's, of course, the eastern section of Bowley's being affected by that initial tornado warning just moments ago. So we cannot get a break here on the western side of the Chesapeake Bay. Time to get in your safe place at Perry Hall, 3:34, and then 3:40 at Kingsville, Edgewood at 3:43 p.m. So, Elise, what are we seeing? And it looks like really the southeastern portion of the county really getting hammered right now.
That's right. That's the area where we have the tornado warnings at this time. Earlier it was the north central. Now we're over on the eastern part of the county. We do not have any reports of an actual sighting of a tornado. We also don't have any reports of heavy damage, which is a good thing. We're continuing to monitor for that. And of course, we're continuing to tell people in these warning areas that they should take shelter now. They should go to a basement or an interior room as soon as possible.
All right, Elise Armacost from Baltimore County Emergency Management, thank you very much. And I want to toss this back. Oh, look at the images here. This is our Mile 1 Towson cam. And you can see just the black clouds moving overhead as these cells are just down to your south and east. And I do want to toss it over to Maxine Stryker. She's still at our smart board. She's just getting some amazing pictures. And our prayers go out to these folks in Anne Arundel County, because I'm sure that we're going to continue to get worse and worse damage pictures. But there's all kinds of debris all over the place.
Yeah, this video, or this picture here, just a different angle from that picture that we just showed you. This is along West Street in Annapolis. The guy that took this also sent in a video earlier and said this was one of the wildest things he's experienced. He is safe, so that's a good thing. But just take a look at the incredible damage in this picture. This is along West Street. You can see debris. Obviously, we have power lines down, trees down. The roof of this building here collapsed, and several cars there in the intersection. You can see some people here as well. And as Jonathan mentioned, You probably don't want to be too close to all of this damage. Those power lines could still be active and dangerous. So if you are in that area, it's best probably just to get as far away as you can. Here's another picture. This is of the Safe Flight auto glass right here along West Street as well. And you can see what it did just to the front of that building. Just a pile of debris now. Hopefully everyone was taking shelter and not near the front of that building inside and is safe, because you can see it just tore the front of the building off. That's how powerful it was. Again, these coming in from a T Fields from Annapolis. He sent us the video earlier where we could see the tornado just swirling around his apartment building. He's telling us he is okay. We're also seeing here from Anne Arundel County Emergency Management, as I just mentioned, avoid traveling if possible. If you have to be out, you can check out their website here. Just expect road closures. Take it slow. As Jonathan said, we're seeing some people moving probably a little faster than they should in this heavy rain, and just avoid this area, of course, in West Street, where we're seeing all of this damage here in Annapolis. It almost looks, Jonathan, like the sun's starting to come back out there, a little getting bright again in that picture. And as you mentioned, it's incredible to see just how narrow of a scope that tornado hit just right there, and the surrounding area is likely undamaged from that small spot there along West Street, but a lot of damage there that's going to take some time to clean up tonight.
All right, and yeah, thank you for those pictures. I mean, gee whiz, I mean, you saw that Safe Flight auto glass in the front of that building, and I mean, there's, you know, that's metal enforced glass that was just blown in like it was a toy house. So these storms mean business, and we have had, again, tornado warnings with them, and we're currently under a couple right now up into the Essex area all the way to Perry Hall. So Essex, Rossville, Middle River, Bowley's Quarters, White Marsh, Perry Hall, Kingsville, and Edgewood, all the way through about 345 under tornado warnings in this area. And then as you go north and east, I mean, it's really been south and east of Baltimore City that's just been getting absolutely hammered. We've had a couple of tornado warnings up around the fairgrounds and up into northern Baltimore County, but no confirmed damage. I do want to show you, we've actually got another warning here around Perryman and Aberdeen that continues to move north and east anywhere between about 3:30 and 3:47 p.m. And Jasmine, I'm getting word from Andrea, our producer for this, that we've got a new tornado warning for Harford County. This is the one that I'm mentioning right now, correct?
Yes, that's correct. That's until 3:45, and it's about 9 miles east of Middle River, moving northeast at 40 miles per hour.
Okay, great. Well, thank you very much for that, Jasmine. Jasmine's been on top of this with the multiple warnings that have been coming out. So Mackenzie Frost is now on her way to Annapolis to check out some of the damage. She's in one of our news vehicles. What are you seeing on your way?
Hey, Jonathan. Yeah, we're seeing it stopped raining right this. Raining pretty hard ever since we left the station. The traffic is slow moving. We aren't seeing much heavy rain right now, just a lot of traffic, a lot of slow-moving vehicles. It almost looks like the sun is trying to peek through here. A few clouds are making way, but I also want to point out, too, that we just got word that the Annapolis Fire Department pointed out that West Street between Gibraltar Road is closed due to some of those damage reports that we've seen, those images as we have seen come in, just damage to some of those businesses. We're going to try and make our way over to the West Street area and show you what it looks like as soon as we can. But again, this traffic is pretty slow moving. We're going to try and get there and bring it to you as soon as we can.
All right, Max. All right, Mackenzie. And from what I could tell, it looks like you're on, is that 97?
Yes, it is. And again, you know, when we left closer to the city, it was just a downpour. It was heavy rain. Now along 97, though, it is starting to.
Okay, and where are you right now? What exit are you by?
Ben, let me ask. What exit are we near?
We're on, I'm not sure exactly which exit we're near, but I know we're on 97 approaching Route 50 right now, 50 eastbound.
approaching Route 50 eastbound, so we're getting close.
Not too far from Annapolis, so you're south of Crownsville right now.
Yeah.
So, all right, so that's actually my neck of the woods. I don't live too far from there, and I know we've been under tornado warnings earlier today, and now we've got pouring rain. So this is not good for cleanup. This is not good for travel, and you guys stay safe out there. Really, if you're not a news crew at this point, the best place to be is inside and ready to shelter in place if you have one of these tornado warnings that does occur for you. And there's a new one now for that same, I mean, this cell has been going basically all the way from St. Mary's County. And I want to actually show you this here. First, let's talk about the towns. Riverside, 330, Perryman, 330, about 335 to 345, all the way from Aberdeen to Perryville. Tornado warning continues here. And I'm going to go ahead and zoom out a little bit, and you can see this big line of storms, and especially the leading edge has been problematic. White Marsh also is under a tornado warning right now. These are the only two spots under the warnings. Hopefully, once we get through with this initial ban, things will calm down a little bit, but there still could be some isolated rotation out of some storms all the way through about, say, 8, 9, 10 o'clock this evening as we continue to see more bands of this stuff come through. But I wanted to show you what's called the Shear Swath. And again, it's not often that you see something like this, but this is where the path of this has gone. And you can see the leading edge is where the tornado warning is. But all the way from about La Plata in this bright green and some of the reds here, all the way just west of Annapolis, where we had the damage along West Street. So the northern and western section of Annapolis getting this, and then all the way up just east of Severna Park, over the Severn River, and then over portions of the Magathie, right along the mouth of the Magathie there, and then east of Edgemere, and now moving its way up to Edgewood. And you can see the end of the circulation there, and that's going to probably continue building its way northbound. So the storm itself is circulating. This is why we have the tornado warnings that continue in effect until 3:45. No reason to believe this won't also include eventually northern Harford County, potentially even clipping portions of western Cecil County as well as it moves towards Perryville, as well as Port Deposit and eventually the state line. And then we can say good riddance to this storm, because this one, again, it's been very, very problematic with confirmed tornado and confirmed tornado damage in the Annapolis area. And I'm sure that we're going to probably be seeing some more damage reports coming in as this kind of dances its way off to the north. And mind you, just because you didn't see a tornado in some spots doesn't mean ahead we wouldn't see a tornado out of the cell as it continues to climb northbound. These cells can produce a tornado. The tornado will then diminish and then will reform and hit ground again. So again, if you are in line with this, you have to prepare for the potential that there could be a tornado heading your way, Edgewood all the way up to Perryville, and that's going to be until 3:45 p.m. Ahead of this kind of green batch. And the worst of the weather right there in that purplish red, that's basically, as you can see here on the key, the strongest, some of the strongest returns that we can get on the radar from Bush River all the way back to about Edgewood. And again, that's where that tornado warning continues until just shy of 4 o'clock. So that's probably going to take us through to our 4 p.m. newscast as we have that tornado warning continuing until 3:45. Also, Aberdeen Proving Ground included in this as well. And now Maxine's got some more pictures of that tornado and some of the damage down in Anne Arundel County.
Yeah, Jonathan, we actually have the man who took these photos that we were just showing you on the phone. Taylor Fields is on the phone right now. Can you hear me, Taylor?
Yep, I can hear you.
So tell me, we first saw the video from it looked like you were in your apartment of the tornado and the debris flying through the air. Tell me what that was like watching that and taking that video.
Yeah, so I was actually working on my computer, and suddenly my Wi-Fi cut out, and then I thought I heard a tornado siren, and then once I heard the rumbling, I was like, okay, I better go do something about this. So I went to my bathroom, and once the rumbling stopped, I went back outside, into the foyer of my apartment, and apparently a little bit too soon, because when I came out, I could still see, branches and leaves just kind of like hundreds of feet in the air, which is not something you see with a normal storm. There was a tree down in the parking lot. One of the signs is almost uprooted. And then I just started hearing all sorts of fire trucks coming by, because I think some buildings next door to me, I'm right on West Street, some of the buildings next door sustained some damage. The front of a safe light is actually pulled out.
Yeah, we have that picture pulled up right now. I mean, just incredible to see how strong that wind must have been to tear the front of that building off. And it looks like there's a lot of damage along West Street to a couple businesses, some down power lines, some cars involved in that. So tell me, what are you seeing there from on the ground?
There's a ton of traffic, obviously, and then just tons of emergency vehicles. There's just debris everywhere, hanging on everything. There's, tree branches on top of roofs that are 5 stories high. So you can tell things were, moving quickly. Definitely some high winds.
Does it appear everyone is okay? Were there any cars that appeared to be caught in the middle of that, where that damage is there along West Street?
Not that I could see. I don't know if anyone's hurt because I'm not at the scene anymore. But where the tree had fallen in my parking lot happened to be right between 2 cars, luckily. So if everyone's okay, then we're all extremely fortunate.
And Taylor, I mean, that must have been a very scary moment for you inside your apartment as that was coming through. You said it was loud. You could just hear the wind outside. Just describe to me how you were feeling. And I think I saw you right here on Twitter. You've never seen anything like this in your life.
No, definitely never. It was very surreal. I mean, I was kind of like not convinced that I was seeing the aftermath of the tornado, but after, 5 minutes, once I kind of settled down, I was like, no, that's definitely what was happening just now. And then, of course, everyone's texting me and saying, tornado is somewhere in your area. And I'm like, I'm pretty sure it was actually like right next to me. And it was. But I was definitely scared, and it was definitely surreal. And I think I was kind of just in awe of what I was looking at. The sound was insane, though. It sounded like the THX sounds that you hear in the movie theaters.
Yeah. Well, we're very glad that you're okay. Hopefully everybody else in your apartment complexes as well. And that's right there along West Street in Annapolis?
Yep. And, right on the 1900 block of West Street.
And does it appear that the damage is just sort of contained to that area there along West Street, or have you gotten out anywhere else and seen any other damage?
I haven't left like the immediate block, but it seems, I mean, from what I can see, it's pretty condensed. You can tell where it was most intense.
A lot of cleanup that needs to happen tonight and tomorrow. We are glad that you're okay. Thank you so much for taking the time to call in and talk with us and share your videos with us tonight, Taylor.
Thank you for speaking with me.
Thank you. Again, these are the incredible pictures that he sent in. The safe light here along, he said, the 1900 block of West Street in Annapolis. The whole front of the building just absolutely sheared off there by the tornado. And this here is just incredible. You see the cars in there and the people out. And again, if you don't have to be outside and close to this, it can be very dangerous, as Jonathan mentioned. So just stay inside and look from there if you can, and safely. And of course, if you have any videos you want to share with us, you can do so here on Twitter, or you can send them to us on Chime In just by heading to our website. Jonathan?
Yeah, it's pretty easy to get those pictures, and you pull up your app, Fox 45 News app, and you can just go ahead and click Chime In and send those to us, as Maxine was saying. So looks like, and I want to ask Jasmine here, because I know Jasmine Lomax, our new meteorologist, has been on top of the radar all afternoon here. The only warning it appears we now have left, and still this is a problem, obviously, is right here from Aberdeen to Abingdon and Edgewood, correct?
That is correct. That one is still radar indicated. The one for Baltimore was canceled about 2 minutes ago. So the one over Aberdeen is moving northeast at 40 miles per hour.
All right, great. So continuing here with our team coverage of the tornado warnings that are in effect still for portions of our area. And this one may actually be extended all the way into extreme eastern Harford up into the Port Deposit area. This is, and Maxine was just showing the pictures of the damage that came out of this as a tornado hit portions of Annapolis around West Street. This is that same cell that caused that tornado. And again, it is moving north and east at about 35 miles an hour in this blinking red box. Bush River, Riverside, Aberdeen. On the eastern periphery is Aberdeen Proving Ground up to about Crestview and Aldino. We'll zoom this out a little bit. And again, we'll move this off to the north and east at about that 40-mile-an-hour marker. And this is, again, the areas that are going to be impacted. So if you're living in Riverside, if you're living in Perryman, if you're in Aberdeen watching us, or Havre de Grace anytime between 3:35 and about 3:50 or so, we're going to be seeing impacts of at least a radar-indicated tornado. Again, we've had a history of tornadoes with this, so you have to pretend or I mean, not pretend, but prepare as if, although it's radar indicated, that this could very really be a tornado on the ground. And then Perryville to Port Deposit and Darlington between about 350 and 355. You got to, again, treat this as a real tornado that could be on the ground here, moving its way north and east at 40 miles an hour. So it's hauling, it's moving. You don't have a whole lot of time to prepare, but this is, again, a tornado warning for extreme eastern portions of Harford County, extreme northeastern Baltimore County. Actually, I guess this is kind of now just pulling out of Baltimore County, but extreme eastern portions of Harford County right along even 95. Where we have a potential tornado that could be moving through that area. Let's go ahead. I'm going to take a look at the storm relative velocity. This has been a pretty impressive storm cell that's really been coming all the way from the state line down around La Plata and now is basically traversed all the way along the western side of the Chesapeake Bay, including Annapolis, Severn River, Magathie River, South River, and now is moving its way up into eastern Harford County. And of course, you can see in this kind of cone that I've drawn in that we have the potential of this affecting a high traffic area of 95. So if you are somehow hearing us on 95 or thinking of maybe hitting 95 and heading north and east, this is not the time to do it. It's the time to get off the road, get into an interior room of a sturdy building. And I'm going to go ahead and tilt this a little bit and show you some of the buildup of the clouds and thunderstorms with this severe weather that continues again. Let's pull this onto the volumetric. And you can see, again, it's not building quite as high as it was earlier when we had the tornado on the ground around Annapolis, but still pretty impressive storm cell that's going to be harnessing a lot of wind here, Edgewood, north and eastbound. And in the city, we've gotten some pretty good downpours. No tornado warnings, but you can really see this kind of building again way up into the atmosphere, harnessing some of those strong winds at least, and then pulling them down to the surface. And potentially we have a spin-up tornado on the north end of this that's been basically kind of crossing the entire central portion of the state east of Baltimore. Thankfully, here in Baltimore, we haven't gotten it. But again, all the way from Charles County, St. Mary's County, up into PG County. And then Anne Arundel has seen this as well. And now right around Port Deposit, as well as Aberdeen Proving Ground, we've got this potential here of still a spin-up tornado. Again, not showing too much in terms of circulation with the couplet or the red and green right next to each other. But again, we're at least seeing some winds at about 25, 30 miles an hour towards the clouds, down towards the surface. If there's a tornado, this could be significantly stronger. And Kai and Mary, we've got some just amazing video that's coming. How are we doing here from the news desk?
Right, Jonathan, thank you. We are now in the studio with some of the coverage here. We're seeing remnants of Ida having a dangerous and a big impact on our region right now.
That's right. We have some video that came into us from that Annapolis tornado that Jonathan has been talking about. Jasmine, here's video right now. Look at this. This is someone who caught the tornado, the midst of it, from their window. Now, let's be honest about this. We're glad to have this video. This is not a safe place to be. I cannot emphasize this enough. I left home, Mary, and I warned my family, and I started running into it in the Owings Mills area. You need to get in the basement once these tornado warnings are issued. We're happy to have this video, but this could be deadly. We do not want to encourage people to do this, but this does give us some indication of how powerful this storm is.
You can see all the debris. You can see the circulation there in the winds and the debris moving and snapping around. But you're right. I hope that this person took this video and then immediately got into shelter. You don't, of course, want to be near windows. A bathroom without a window is the safest place in a bathtub. Anywhere in your basement is safe. And this is still ongoing. We are still under a tornado warning at this point. We know we saw a ton of damage on West Street in Annapolis, and the National Weather Service has confirmed a tornado located just at North Point State Park near Fort Howard touched ground just after 2:45 p.m. today, and that's when a lot of our phones went off with those tornado warnings.
That's right. We also have some video, Mary, that came in from Traffic Jam Jimmy as he was heading home in the Harford County area. He got some video of what it looked like in his area. I saw as much as well. This is some video again from Traffic Jam Jimmy, I believe, out in
the Perry Hall area.
He was heading home. Perry Hall area, so that's in Baltimore County, trying to get home. So Jimmy out there on the roads, thank you very much. This is obviously 695. I think that's the Charles Street overpass right there.
And I think what a lot of people saw today is we saw heavy rain, then clearing, then spots of sun, more heavy rain. And it was just these bands from the remnants of Ida that were just circulating through. And we talked about it yesterday, the fact that this is just the right conditions for tornadoes, and
Right.
we saw them. Also, I think people here in this region, we have our guards down because we go on the air. Jonathan does extended tornado coverage, and we rarely have it. Now, we're taking a live look here at some tornado damage. There is a roof with some damage there. It looks like some stands.
Yep, that's South River High School in Annapolis area, I think. Which again, Annapolis is that's going to be probably the epicenter of most of the damage down here. It's just nailed. And Mary's right. I saw a lot of rain bands. The rain started, it stopped. When I came in through the Baltimore County area this morning, I ran out to go get my daughter out of school. The roads, that's another story we didn't talk about, but the roads were absolute chaos today throughout the Baltimore County region as people were scrambling to go and get their kids because the school systems decided that they wanted to pull the kids out for this. That's fine, but we want to make it clear that our meteorologists have, and others have as well, have been forecasting that this thing was going to hit, and this was not a surprise to anyone. We have been talking about this for the past 2 days, so this wasn't a surprise.
And lots of kids headed back to school today. Here's a live look at one of our interstates as we see traffic is accumulating, building at this hour. We see rain still falling. It's going to be a tough commute home for a lot of people today. And again, we still have a tornado warning until 3:45. We know Shelley Orman is standing by in our storm tracker. Let's see if we can go to her, Shelley, and give us an idea of what conditions are like on those roads for you guys.
Yes, hi Mary. My photographer Brandon and I, we're in the storm tracker. We're on 695. We're heading up north towards Essex. We just left Edgemere, and I'll give you a look. The roads are definitely very wet. We've had to kind of dodge around a lot of really wet spots, some flooding in the road where we're in this huge SUV. A smaller car, there's no way they should be driving through that, and it's just not safe conditions at all. Especially there's a flood zone on North Point Road that I just put a video up what that looked like on my Twitter. So if you have to be on that, I would definitely find an alternate route around there. But the rain tapering off, it's gotten a little bit lighter, but it's still, it hasn't stopped completely no matter where we've been, and it's been pretty heavy at times, but not as heavy right now. And traffic, we're going, how fast are we going, Brandon? About 50 right now, but this is probably the fastest we've been driving since we got on the road about 40 minutes ago. We drove from our station in Baltimore City up here now in the county area, and definitely it has not been fun to be driving. If you do not have to go anywhere, do not go out, stay inside, because this is not good weather at all. We do not enjoy being out in this. We want people to stay safe and stay home if they can, and just be careful if you have to head out, because you want to go slow, because the water, it's just, there's just so much of it because we've just had so much rain, and it's definitely pooling here on the roads. Kai, Mary.
All right, Shelley, be careful out there as you travel along there.
All right.
Still see lots of rain on the roads there. And we want to just make a point here. There's a difference, obviously, between a tornado warning and a tornado watch. A lot of times we say our region's under a tornado watch, but a warning is there's an imminent threat, so you do need to take cover.
That's right. I think we're going to have some more video right now that we can show you of the Annapolis High School damage. We showed you that stadium a moment ago that it's basically collapsed, so that's going to do it for them, obviously, for this season, for trying to have any events at this location. But fortunately, we don't have any reports that anyone was hurt in this particular incident, but it shows you the power of these types of storms.
Oh, my goodness. The folks on West Street in Annapolis know the power of this. They have lots of cleanup, and right now it's a dangerous situation. They have down power lines. We'll have more coverage on that. But first, we want to go back to meteorologist Jonathan Myers with the latest on the storm track. Jonathan?
Again, the tornado warning does continue still for that same cell. I mean, it has been basically traversing the state from corner to corner at this point, down from about St. Mary's. Now it's already made its way through, of course, Annapolis. We've seen the pictures of what it's done there. And the tornado warning continues with this around Aberdeen and also Port Deposit. So we're going to go ahead and take a look here. You can see, again, Aberdeen, Port Deposit, down to about Bush. This is where we continue to have a tornado warning that is in effect here, and that will continue until 3:45 p.m. And there's also now a severe thunderstorm warning along the eastern shore as this line of cells moves that way. We'll have to see if any warnings pop up for that area as well for tornadoes. But again, this has had a history of producing tornadoes all the way from, again, the Annapolis area up to just shy of Arnold around Parole. South River High School having some big damage there. West Street in Annapolis, some damage there as well. Portions of buildings blown off. We saw some video where it appeared there were tree limbs and leaves being carried away, and then it looked like some roof tiles ripped off of a roof of a structure down Annapolis Way. So this storm means business. It has had a history of producing tornadoes. Fort Howard also had a confirmed tornado on the ground earlier on this afternoon, about, say, a half hour ago. So tornado warning continues until 3:45 p.m. this afternoon. I'm going to go ahead and show you the storm relative velocity once again, see if we've got any couplet here. In other words, red and green kind of right next to each other. Still not seeing that. So at least from our perspective, from the radar, looks like primarily a gusty wind situation. But we have had some 50-mile-an-hour winds with this cell. It looks not as bad as it was, but again, on the leading edge of this big line of storms that is moving its way northbound. We'll zoom out a little bit here. Basically goes all the way down to Edgewood, trails all the way down to the eastern shore, and probably all the way down into the Atlantic, really. But again, the northern side of this here in Maryland has had a history of producing tornadoes. So any indication from the National Weather Service, they keep putting in these tornado warnings with this as it moves its way north and east. So at any time, this can spawn a tornado. So if you were in line with this, Moxley all the way back to Crestview, now just passing Aberdeen, Adams Heights, so Aberdeen, pretty populated area. You are seeing the cell basically come overhead right now. There could be some winds in excess of 60 miles an hour. There could be potentially a spin-up tornado with this as well, radar indicated. So you're going to need to get into your safe place at this point, away from windows. And again, if you don't have what you'd consider a safe place in your house, you probably have a bathroom. That's a good place to go. If your bathroom has windows in it, then you go ahead, lay down in the tub, and you could put something padded over you, maybe a mattress pad or even a mattress, because you saw what happened there in Annapolis with some of the damage pictures. Very, the proof is in the pictures. A very, very good way of seeing how these tornadoes act is by looking at those videos, and you can see all the damage that's created by flying debris, the debris just being carried around and swirled around all over the place, and that can come through a window and injure you. So that means that you have to be away from the windows and protect yourself from that potential of flying debris. So Aberdeen up to Port Deposit, again, that is going to be the biggest area of threat right now. It's moving to the north and east at about 40 miles an hour. So Port Deposit looking at a possible hit from this. Again, a potential tornado producing storm cell at 352, Rising Sun at 403, and then Little Britain at 410 as this begins to move its way up towards the Pennsylvania line. So at that point, hopefully we can get rid of at least this cell that has had that potential tornado with it and confirmed tornado with it in a couple of spots down to the south and southeast of Baltimore City. Now, here in Cockeysville, Towson, Baltimore, there is a little bit of a break. But don't get too comfortable yet, because there is more that's out to the west. So we may not be totally done here just yet with this. And I'm going to toss it over to Jasmine Lomax, who is in our weather center. And she's been tracking and monitoring this all afternoon and giving me the latest on some of these developing warnings. Do you have any information on anything new in terms of warnings that that's coming up, or anything out of the National Weather Service? I know you're monitoring their chat service there that potentially could have a warning.
So right now we're not seeing anything new. A lot of what we're seeing is more so marine and coastal things. However, the tornado warning for Hartford will be expiring at 3:45. So they have said that they're going to let that one expire. So in about a minute or so, that box is going to disappear. So it looks like the threat for that has diminished.
That's fantastic news, Jasmine. Of course, we're going to be back here with the warnings as they occur. But right now, I believe the mayor of Annapolis is speaking to the press about what's going on in terms of recovery and damage. And I'm going to toss it over to Kai and Mary with that.
Jonathan, thank you.
Yeah, let's go to Gavin Buckley right now. Mayor Buckley, you're on the phone, I understand. Is that right?
Yes, this is Mayor Buckley here. How are you doing?
We're doing okay. First of all, we want to express our sympathies to you and the residents of Annapolis for just absolute damage from this storm system that rolled through. Can you give us a big picture snapshot of how much damage and whether we have any injuries and hopefully not fatalities right now?
Yeah, we had a pretty suspected touchdown of a tornado on West Street, one of the main corridors into the city. It was obviously a very powerful touchdown. It took down a whole power pole. I believe it was one of the power poles that we'd had replaced this year. So it was that whole utility corridor had been upgraded. That pole came down across the street, brought down power lines. There were various trees around the area, and then a lot of building damage as well.
And have you talked to emergency crews? I'm sorry, keep going, Mayor. Have you talked to emergency crews that have responded? What are they doing right now on West Street?
So we have BG&E, we have our Capitol Police, State Police, County and City Police cordoning off the area and keeping people away from West Street. We are advising people to stay home. Please, let's see this rain through. And please don't go on West Street. Of course, you won't be able to go on West Street because you'll be turned away.
That's right. We've also seen some damage at South River High School. Any other damage reports that you're getting?
They're the ones that I've heard about so far. We're asking people to call 911 if they need help or call in if they are witnessing any damage so we can send out crews.
Yeah. Mayor Buckley, at this time, do you have enough emergency crews to respond to all of this? Because it just seems like a hodgepodge of things going on. We know that you all were preparing, and Annapolis normally does prepare for the water. As Jonathan Myers mentioned yesterday, that wind often shifts and will take that inner Annapolis Harbor water up to the streets. That really wasn't the issue today. It was this tornado that was the big problem.
Yes, we are definitely preparing for tidal surge and stormwater situations, but obviously high winds is another thing altogether. We are watching now to see how much rain comes down in the city, to see if our pumps hold up for that. We believe they will. We have an excellent emergency management team in place, and they are deployed as we speak.
And Gavin, just before we leave you, did you witness any of the tornado or any of the severe weather yourself?
Yeah, I mean, we saw not the tornado, definitely the heavy rains and the flooding just in the general vicinity, but I was maybe a mile and a half from the location where we believe it touched down.
All right, well, we know there is a large undertaking to clean up all of this damage from a tornado, and it I'm sure has really rattled everybody's nerves. And Gavin Buckley, Mayor of Annapolis, thank you for taking some time. I know you've got a busy day and night ahead of you as you help these businesses recover.
We appreciate you covering it. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And our coverage continues right now. Fox 45's Mackenzie Frost. We talked to her by phone not long ago. She's on West Street in Annapolis giving us an assessment of that damage. Mackenzie, exactly where are you on West Street? It's pretty long, obviously. And what do you see?
Yeah, Kai, we're on West Street just about Gibraltar Road. This road's actually closed. We had to park and walk a little bit closer. I wanted to have you take a look. You can see some of the damage. We've seen some of those images come in. The Burger King sign, the Safe Light sign. In the middle of the street, I believe that's the McDonald's sign that has blown off and is really taken hold and is in the middle of the street right now. We are seeing a lot of emergency vehicles. Obviously, you see all of that right now. It's unclear exactly what is going on and why this road is blocked beyond just this incredible amount of damage. I mean, we're seeing power lines in the middle of the street, these towers and poles in the middle of the street as well. These emergency crews are directing traffic out of this shopping center, as you can see here, to go back down the other road. We've seen police driving down the road to help and assist what's going on, the damage. We're really just starting to get a glimpse and a sense of just how bad this and severe this damage is as we make our way a little bit closer down West Street. Hopefully we'll get a closer look, Kai.
Tow trucks there, lots of emergency vehicles. We know that power lines have been down. They're turned off because we see a lot of emergency crews in there. But look at, Kai, the amount of businesses that have been affected just on that part of West Street. And Mackenzie, we're going to keep your pictures up as we toss back to our chief meteorologist, Jonathan Myers. He's got an update on where this storm is.
Yeah, we've got another tornado warning. Jasmine Lomax, our newest meteorologist, she's been manning the Weather Center. And Jasmine, you were saying we've got another tornado warning that now is going into effect. Give us some of the details here.
Yes, so this is another radar indicated tornado warning, and it's for Cecil and Hartford till 4:15. So we're talking a severe thunderstorm capable of producing a tornado was located over Harvard Grace. It's moving north at approximately 30 miles per hour right now. All
right. Thank you. Jasmine's been totally on top of all this. Really appreciate her help here. You can see, again, the tornado warning, as she mentioned, until 4:15 p.m. And this is moving north and east at 30 miles an hour at this point. So Earlton, Port Deposit, Colony Acres, Rising Sun. So this is going basically from extreme eastern portions of Harford County around Harvard Grace north and east at about 30 miles an hour. And at this point, haven't seen a whole lot in terms of what we call a couplet, or the red and the green, when we take a look at this storm relative velocity here next to each other. But again, there is that potential of tornadic activity with this. We were just talking to Gavin Buckley about all the damage that they saw in Annapolis out of a tornado that touched down out of this same cell. And it continues again to produce tornado warnings as it moves now over the Susquehanna River. Right here on the 95 corridor, this is not a great place to be because, of course, the Susquehanna River Bridge is subject to very high crosswinds. I know I have family up in New Jersey and New York. I'm always driving across this area, and I see the signs that say the bridge, you know, subject to high crosswinds there on 95. And this right here is high winds. So if you do not have to be in this area right now, probably the best place to be is off the road in an interior room, away from windows, a basement. That's a great spot to be as well. Winds now reported in about 26 miles an hour right around that Port Deposit area and Harvard Grace as this continues to trail its way up into extreme western portions of Cecil County. And hopefully, again, this will end up in Pennsylvania at about 4:15. Of course, we don't wish tornadoes on anybody, but this is really giving us a run all the way from St. Mary's up into Annapolis, then moving its way across all of the small streams, creeks, rivers, tributaries to the Chesapeake, including the Magathie River, the South River, the Severn. And then now we've got, again, a tornado warning for this as it continues its trek, the same cell and same line of storms up around Port Deposit, Perryville, just north and east of Aberdeen. All of these areas going to be seeing this as it moves north and east at about, again, 30 miles an hour. So let's draw that in for you. Again, some of the towns going to be affected here. Port Deposit, Rising Sun, anywhere between about 4 o'clock and 4:13. And eventually then this would move its way up into southern Pennsylvania and then eventually up toward the Philadelphia area. So that would be the next area that could be seeing potential tornadic activity out of this. Now down to the south, again, we've got, we'll go ahead and zoom out. We've had some severe weather warnings, some severe thunderstorm warnings for the eastern shore out of this line. Looking downstream, there's still more cells with this. This is, of course, that remnant Ida spin or moisture that continues to move its way through. I want to put this in the national mode just for a second here so we can show you, again, that spin that's been going on. Not quite as well defined as it had previously been when it was over the Ohio Valley, Tennessee Valley, and back to the Gulf Coast. But you can kind of get a picture of this kind of little curlicue here on the southern end, and then the spin going up into Pennsylvania. We're harnessing some of that energy and some of the spin along with some glimpses of sunshine that we had earlier this morning and something called helicity or spin in the atmosphere that continues to give us these lines of cells coming through. So we're not totally done when this is over. There still will be more rain and potentially even some severe weather on the tail end of this all the way into this evening. So we still do have tornado warnings that are in effect and a tornado watch that continues for our area until 7 p.m. this evening. Latest tornado warning, again, has been north and east of Baltimore. It's basically been kind of trailing right up the western side of the Chesapeake Bay. Tornado warning that expires at 4:15 p.m. now for eastern Harford County, as well as again, western portions of Cecil County, from Perryville up to Belvedere, Bayview, Port Deposit, Earlton, down to just north of Aberdeen, right around Havre de Grace is where we're seeing this latest tornado warning that continues. And again, I like to kind of show you these. Not only is it kind of a neat picture, but the volumetric scans of the radar. You can see again as this kind of builds its way up into the atmosphere that you get again this imagery of the cells kind of building up 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60,000 feet into the atmosphere. That helps to guide some of the winds of the storm track down towards the surface with some of these cells. So even if you're not seeing a tornado, you could easily be seeing 50, 60 mile an hour winds as these build up and harness some of those winds. So we're going to go ahead, put this back onto the Sterling radar, and we can see here again, that's our local National Weather Service radar out of Sterling, Virginia, right near Dulles Airport out of our National Weather Service. And again, you can see that one last tornado warning in effect until 4:15 p.m., continuing for portions of extreme eastern Harford County up into western portions of Cecil County. Again, the 95 corridor just getting hammered by this line of rain and storms. 95 all the way back down to 97 in Anne Arundel County has just been kind of the epicenter of the problems, down to about 50 as well. Some very populated areas being affected by this line of strong storms with extremely heavy rain. And again, the tornado warning that continues until 4:15 here. Port Deposit, Perryville, all the way back to Havre de Grace up to the state line in Cecil County. Guys?
All right, Jonathan, thank you. We're going to take another look at some of the video that has come into our newsroom of just how powerful this storm is. Yeah. We're seeing reports and people saying it was, and this is what you hear when you see tornadoes, it was like a freight train coming through their neighborhood. There are also pictures on Twitter of a house with literally no roof.
Absolutely.
And that was in the Edgewater area.
It's crazy.
Again, this is, you can see the rotation and debris in the air, an incredibly dangerous moment that this person chose to take this video, but hopefully they're okay. We have no reports of injuries, we should say, at this point.
So that's some good news, Mary. And you and I did talk to Mayor Gavin Buckley, 3:45-ish. I think we had a few minutes of conversation with him first before we went to Mackenzie Frost. So you're right. So here we see the interior of the storm. You showed me, Mary showed me a picture someone tweeted out. This is a video from Traffic Jam Jimmy heading home, I believe, earlier. You showed me a picture of that home that was damaged. So we're seeing picture inside the storm, outside the storm, the actual damage, West Street in Annapolis. That's really bad. We saw what happened at South River High, I believe,
right, exactly.
in Annapolis as well. That stadium bleacher
and
completely
the football
collapsed.
Fields, correct.
That is quite a mess.
And there are reports that parts of that school also have some severe damage as well. Let's go over to Maxine Stryker. She's been following all this for us on social media with all the latest pictures and videos. What else do you have?
Yeah, right here's another picture that we just got in of that South River High School. You can see some big trees down here and just part of the bleachers there, the side of that building ripped off. A lot of damage up there on the roof as well. Somebody wrote bye to the football game, I guess. It's definitely going to take some time to get things cleaned up there. And of course, we've seen all that damage along West Street, but here's some damage coming in South River Colony neighborhood of Edgewater. So in a more rural area, a lot of massive trees down here. You can see right by homes. Here's somebody out here in the picture, hopefully after everything went through, but a lot of debris falling around them. And look at the roots of this tree just uprooted by those powerful winds. We'll take you down here. Some more video of the tornado coming through. You can see it here in the background, just that dark cloud. And as we heard, as Mary just mentioned, and we heard when we were doing that phone interview earlier, it sounded like a freight train coming through. So really scary stuff. Of course, we want to remind you, if you're going to be out taking any video, just don't stay inside. If you're able to safely take something, go ahead and send it to us. But there's no need to be out risking your life just to get a video. If you're able to safely send something, send it our way to Twitter or chime in. Okay, and Mary?
Maxine,
thank you.
Just incredible, incredible images as remnants of Hurricane Ida go through our area, causing major damage and destruction.
That's right. Well, we were watching, obviously, early coverage because of what's been happening around the area with meteorologist Jonathan Myers, Jasmine Lomax, and, of course, Maxine Stryker. We're going to start now. Fox 45 News at 4 o'clock right now.
Live from WBFF in Baltimore, This is Fox 45 News at 4.
We are on weather alert, of course. A confirmed tornado near Annapolis today. In the past 2 hours, we've had several tornado warnings in our area. Take a look at this video. Melanie Newman, the play-by-play announcer for the Orioles, tweeting this video of debris twisting around in the air in Annapolis.
And just into the newsroom right now, new video of storm damage from South River Highs. That's in Edgewater in Anne Arundel County. And right now, there is a tornado warning in Harford County.
Let's get right to Chief Meteorologist Jonathan Myers with the latest track of this storm. Jonathan?
And this has had a history, as you see there from the pictures, of producing tornadic activity. We saw that tornado down around Edgewater. Actually, I've been to a lacrosse tournament there at that beautiful high school. And really, my prayers out to those folks all the way down West Street, Annapolis, seeing damage. And that cell continues to hold a tornado warning with it until 4:15 p.m. Extreme eastern portions of Harford County, not too far from Port Deposit, working our way back to Havre de Grace, and then north and east toward Rising Sun. This is a tornado warning that continues until 4:15 p.m. Let's go ahead and take a look at the storm relative velocity, and we'll zoom in. Usually you kind of look for reds and greens right next to each other for what we call a couplet with these storm cells. And right now we're just not seeing a whole lot of that, or at least not a strong return. You can see some of the reds here that are about 16 miles an hour away from the radar. And then we can pop this off so you can see. And then 16 miles an hour towards the radar in this area right near Rising Sun right now. And I do want to just go ahead and show you here a storm track. This is moving to the north and east at about 30 miles an hour. So again, kind of more rural areas of the county being affected here, eventually moving up towards the state line. Kai and Mary, we got plenty of damage out of this, and we have our reporters out on the scene.
We do indeed, Jonathan, more than anybody wants. We have live team coverage of the storm and its impacts. Our journalists are spread out across this area from Fells Point to Ellicott City and Annapolis, showing you the latest conditions.
That's right.
In fact, a confirmed tornado near Annapolis, and right now we're hearing about a gas leak.
Mackenzie Frost is live there right now with the fire chief. Mackenzie?
Yeah, Mary Kai, that's right. We're here on Long West Street. We just showed you some of the damage, and I want to introduce to you right now Lieutenant White from the Annapolis Fire Department. And now you were telling me that we do have a confirmed gas leak. You can smell it in the air right now. Tell us more what we know.
So correct. So at this time we have a confirmed active gas leak, and we have down power lines. As you can see, BG&E, their second truck just arrived on location to assess the situation. Right now there are no reported injuries. So we have no reports of injuries to civilians or fire personnel. Multiple buildings sustained severe damage, as you can see down the West Street, area. So there's no active fire, again, no reported injuries, and we're just trying to keep this area clear, keep everybody safe, keep everybody back at this time.
And you said no reported injuries. How long do you anticipate it will take to go through and assess the damage? We're seeing severe damage, so many buildings, down power lines. Do you have a timeline for this?
So at this time, we don't have a timeline. BG&E just arrived on location, so our major concern right now are the down power lines to secure that gas leak. Once the gas leak is secure and the power lines are secure, we can get in and do more of an assessment of the damages. And we also have city building inspectors that's going to be coming out to assess the damage to the buildings.
So the gas is still leaking right now?
Correct.
Active gas.
It's an active gas leak, correct.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Lieutenant White. I appreciate it. And the damage that you can see is just extensive. In the Safe Light building that we saw images coming into our newsroom is just down the way. But Lieutenant White told us that this is as far as we can go right now. It's just not safe for us to go any farther because of that active gas leak. We'll keep you updated and try to bring you more scenes and talk to more people about what's going on. But for now, Mary and Kai, I'll send it back to you guys in the studio.
All right, Mackenzie, thank you. Certainly a dangerous situation out there. The storm's also knocking out power. We know BGE says the power is out for more than 7,100 customers around our region. Most of the outages, though, are in Anne Arundel County.
All right, let's go back to meteorologist Jonathan Myers for an update on this system right now. And the danger's not over.
Yeah, you know, we're not done yet. Kai and Mary, we still have a tornado warning for this. This is all the way up Port Deposit Way, now Havre de Grace into Rising Sun. The cell that caused that tornado down in Annapolis, and actually we've had report of a tornado as well at Fort Howard out of this. And then there were tornado warnings that went all the way down to St. Mary's County, down around La Plata, seeing some of the Charles County. So this has really kind of bisected the state along the western side of the Chesapeake Bay and hitting some pretty populated areas as it's done so, with at least strong winds. And you saw the damage created in Annapolis by the tornado coming through there. And then Perryville up to Port Deposit to Frenchtown, Frank, Cathers Corner, Rising Sun also getting some extremely heavy rain and that tornado warning that continues now until 4:15. So another 10 minutes on that. Let's go ahead. We'll put in our storm track, and this is moving to the northeast at about 30. So Rising Sun, kind of the last place in Maryland, or last real big populated place to get hit. That'll be in Cecil County just after 4:15. Again, the warning drops at 4:15, so hopefully we'll be able to say good riddance to this after that point, and that'll move up into Pennsylvania. But then southeastern Pennsylvania gets it thereafter. Certainly big issues out of this. We'll go ahead. I want to put on what we call the shear swath. And on our radar system, basically what that equates to is where you've had rotation out of the thunderstorm in the history of the radar sweeps. And as we put that on, you get a good image or a good idea of where this thing has been and the circulation that it's provided, with the brightest greens in that biggest circulation, or at least the biggest kind of swirl area, if you will. And that goes all the way up to Annapolis and then back up here to Bel Air. And you'll notice as it works its way to Perryville, it kind of weakens out a little bit. So hopefully, although a radar indicated tornado, not as much damage coming out of it here. But if you are in the area of extreme eastern Harford County, western Cecil County, you need to take cover now. Guys?
Jonathan, thank you. Well, right now there is a tornado warning, as Jonathan was talking about, in Harford County.
Shelley Orman is live there right now, where she's seeing some first responders. Shelley, what's happening?
Yes, hi, Kai, Mary. We just entered in to Harford County from Baltimore County. We're in the Joppatown area, and we were on Pulaski Highway, and we passed by right here and saw all these flashing lights, these emergency vehicles here. This is at Pine Road, and so we pulled over. If you look in the far corner here, you can see there's a group of crews with the they've got that boat there. We got out. We asked them what they're responding to. They said that the road is flooded out down there. So they did not tell us if they were responding to a specific incident and why they needed to go down that road. We, of course, just got here about a minute before talking to you, but that's what's happening right now. We're going to work to learn some more information. I do know this area that we're in is under a flash flood warning until about 6:30, so there's been lots of heavy rain this whole time while we're driving. We have not seen any accidents, but this is the first emergency response that we've seen, and there have been some ambulances here, but they actually left and drove off. No sirens going, so hopefully nothing too serious down here, but of course this attracted our attention, so we're going to learn some more, and we'll let you know just as soon as we do learn more.
All right, Shelley, be careful out there. Our traffic jam, Jimmy, experienced heavy rain as he was driving on the Beltway. This is video from this afternoon as he made his way home.
And many are sharing and posting their pictures and videos of the severe weather.
That's right. Maxine Stryker is live in our Breaking News Center sharing the best storm videos that we've seen so far. There's lots of them, Maxine, right?
Oh, yeah, there has been a lot of videos and pictures coming in over the past hour and a half. Hopefully everybody has been safely taking them. These are some of the most incredible images we've seen here. This, of course, on West Street, where Mackenzie Frost just was. The damage there, incredible to see how powerful that was. Here it is from another angle. This coming in from Tyler Fields. He says, this is what it looks like right next to my place. And we actually talked with him on the phone just a few minutes ago. He said when the tornado came through, he was in his apartment building. It sounded like a freight train. He popped out for a second. He got some incredible video from there as well. I'll see if I can find that video. Here it is. You can see the debris just flying around, that dark, dark clouds. He said it was one of the scariest and wildest things he has ever experienced. He quickly got himself back inside safely in the bathroom where he hunkered down. Here, check out this video from Melanie Newman. She said, Andrew ran out and got this. Not thrilled he did. But you can see how that debris is just sort of funneling around. It looks like it's just coming off of a building there. Absolutely Amazing to see how powerful that was. A lot of videos coming in. Here's another one of some traffic in Annapolis. You can see the tornado there just in the distance. What a scary moment that must have been for drivers. Of course, if you can safely take videos and pictures and send them, you can send them to Chime In. We want to see what it looks like. Number one thing is just be safe when you're taking videos of severe weather. Point your phone camera at the QR code here on the screen. It'll take you directly to our website, foxbaltimore.com/chime-in. Right there, you can upload your pictures and videos, and you might see them right here on air afterwards, and it's powered by Stackla. All right, we're going to take a look at the latest with this warning. Jonathan?
Another 5 minutes, Maxine, on the warning. Now, it's far from where all that video was taken, but that was maybe, what, a half hour ago. Now the storm continues to at least exhibit rotation up around Port Deposit and Rising Sun. We've got the warning that continues until 4:15 p.m. That's up into western Cecil, as well as portions of eastern Harford County, and you get a good picture of where this cell is. We've got that tornado warning that does continue here from Port Deposit up to Woodlawn, but that's Woodlawn in Cecil County, and then Clearview, Rising Sun in Cecil County as well. There we go. And again, this does have the potential of having a spin-up tornado with it. Haven't had any ground reports of tornado, at least since it hit Fort Howard down in extreme southeastern Baltimore County. You see some of the video beside me here, just amazing pictures coming in, the flags flying and debris flying as well. You can actually see roof tiles coming off of some of the roofs in the Annapolis area. So a pretty significant tornado coming through there. We'll have to see what the damage estimates when the National Weather Service comes in and takes a look probably later today or tomorrow, exactly what type of, is it an EF0, is it an EF1, EF2, what type of tornado we saw there. But certainly enough to do some damage, that's for sure. Let's go ahead, we'll zoom in, and you can see again from Rising Sun all the way down into the southern portions of the county here near the tip of the Chesapeake Bay, still under a tornado warning now until about 4:15. So hopefully once that time frame passes, we'll be able to say goodbye to this cell as it moves its way up north and east into Pennsylvania. Now, beyond that, we're taking a look here at the radar, and if we can take the radar full, we're actually taking a look, too, at some of the damage and some of the water rescues, potentially, that are happening out of this up there in Harford County out of our Chevy Storm Tracker. But Perryville south to Edgewood and here in Baltimore, Lake Riviera, you see we still have the reds and the oranges and the yellows on the radar, and those really kind of track all the way back to Westminster, Laurel, Annapolis. So as long as we have that spin in the atmosphere that continues into the early evening hours, there's still that potential that we could have severe thunderstorm warnings and also tornado warnings. So do not let your guard down yet at this point. Although we may be kind of finishing up with this one, there could be more that could be coming our way into the evening, especially spots that haven't seen these tornado warnings or haven't seen as much rain. They could be still left with that instability and that spin in the atmosphere, that energy in the atmosphere to get potentially another tornado or some damaging winds. So the tornado warning continues until 4:15 p.m. Especially now it's western portions of Cecil County. That includes Principio, Port Deposit, as well as Rising Sun. So if you're watching us from those areas, you need to be in your safe place now for the next couple of minutes, away from windows, away from doors. I know we've been saying it over and over again and covering up a lot of programming, but unfortunately, when it comes to this stuff, life-saving is the #1 thing that we are here to do. So if you are in this tornado warning, we're going to stay with this until the expiration up here in western Cecil County. This here could give you the potential of seeing, again, winds up to in excess of 60 miles an hour, and there could be flying debris as well. And you'll see the tornado warning now being extended into southern Pennsylvania as that cell continues its move northbound. We'll have to see how much of this is deleted out here in about a minute's time from now, but I'm thinking that likely we're going to be dropping this tornado warning for the remainder of Maryland, at least, again, for this round. But there's still that circulation of Ida that has to come through all the way through about 10, 11 o'clock tonight. And until that finally makes the push eastbound, I think we have that potential of still some tornadic activity and some flooding rainfall. Just unbelievable pictures coming out of the Annapolis area. You're seeing, I believe this is the new announcer for the Orioles from her house. You're seeing just the wind blowing, pieces of trees being blown about. Our live view here, I believe this is on the mile one, is that Toyota Eastern Harbor Skycam here at the Inner Harbor. You see all the rain that continues to just pour down. Actually, all the cameras we'll show you this afternoon are going to kind of look the same. There's a mile one Towson cam with the black skies. And again, no tornado warnings in that area, but we do have certainly some flooding. And that's the next thing that I think we're going to have to get to once we're done with these tornado warnings here is a potential of flooding that's going to occur. And just now, actually, some good news. We have dropped that tornado warning for northeastern Maryland. It all is now moving up into Pennsylvania. And of course, we're going to start getting those stats together on some of the flooding that's been occurring here in the next few moments.
All right, Jonathan, focus now is on cleanup. And because of the storms, Governor Hogan ordered the Maryland Emergency Management Agency to raise its state activation level.
Well, joining us live via Zoom right now is Chaz Eby, the Deputy Executive Director at MEMA. Chaz, thank you for joining us. How is MEMA responding, particularly to the tornado situation in Annapolis with so much damage there?
Well, we have raised our activation level. We have a team in here along with many state agencies. Well, our job right now is to make sure we're supporting first responders in all of the local jurisdictions who are actively responding to both flooding and the tornadic activity that's happening around the state.
Are you advising residents in the aftermath of some of this damage? They're emerging from their homes. There may be down power lines. We know that there's a gas leak on West Street in Annapolis. What advice are you giving folks as they deal with some of the damage?
It's really not safe to go out right now. It's very, very dangerous if you're under a tornado warning, especially. You should not be out. You need to seek shelter immediately. But much of the state is still under a tornado watch or a flash flood watch. Those are also very serious. Please be able to get warnings at least 2 different ways and that you have your communications device on you so that if you get a warning, you can take immediate action.
Chaz, with that in mind, kind of to Mary's point, are you concerned that because we've had the tornado damage and so far we haven't seen, a lot of water rescues, swift water rescues, are you concerned people could let their guard down?
There's always a desire to go out as soon as the worst of it clears your area. But again, there may be flooded roadways. We've heard reports of people driving through them. Extremely dangerous. Do not do that. Now is not the time to be out. We still have a number of hours, and this could be a long event because of the amount of rain we've gotten. Some rivers may be flooding even beyond today, tomorrow, or the next day. So it's important that everyone stay aware for the time being.
Well, we know there's a lot of power outages out there as the sun goes down. What are you most worried about as night falls with power outages and still under these tornado watches?
Well, we already have about 10,000 power outages around the state. I'd recommend that everyone know the emergency number for their utility company or power provider so that if you do have a power outage, you can immediately call them. And charge your devices now if you haven't lost power because you don't know what could be happening later today.
Yeah, we were just looking at some pictures of some severe flooding, so we still have reports of that coming in. Before we go, any trouble spots that you're worried about in our region?
Well, really, there's a large swath of our entire state that has some sort of warning or watch right now. So it's important to know exactly where you are. And if you're at work, know what you might encounter from where you work to going home if you have to drive and be on the roadways. It's not a good time, so if you can avoid travel, please do. But in any case, stay very weather aware all through the night tonight.
Good advice indeed. Chaz Eby with the MEMA, Maryland Emergency Management Agency. I think that's the line of the day, Chaz, to be weather aware. We like that indeed.
Yes, sir. Thank you for having me.
Thank you, Chaz.
Thank you. All right, we're going to move on with our coverage right now. Shelley Orman is live out on our roads. We know that there was the tornado warning where you are in Harford County. Do you have an update for us with the activity that we are seeing from your camera?
We do, Mary. And right now the problem is just the rain, the flash flooding. This is the Harford County, the TRT. This is the Technical Rescue Team. I just talked to them. There's 8 members out here. On the other side of these flashing lights, there is a fire truck. That fire truck was responding to a medical call in this neighborhood back here a little while ago. While they were back there, the road flooded out. This is Pine Road, right off Pulaski Highway. This fire truck that's coming through right now just made it through those flood waters, but they were on standby, and there might be more crews back there just in case somebody needs to be medically taken out of here and their emergency vehicles can't make it through this road. I don't know if you can see it where all those men are standing down there. That's where the road is really flooded. That fire truck just made it through those floodwaters, going very slowly. But these guys still here. They have their swiftwater rescue boat. And again, we've counted at least 8 members of that team here on site. And then there's a sheriff's deputy. They have shut this road down. We have other first responders here. And they said, look at them out here. I mean, this rain is just pouring down, but they are suited up. They are ready to respond if they're needed. And right now they're on standby as crews have been down in that neighborhood back there on a call. And they're here to assist if they're needed. That's the very latest here in Harford County.
All right. Shelley Owen reporting. So again, there, North Mary, where the rain is now focused, there we do have some swiftwater rescues. Hopefully, again, no one in grave danger up there.
It has been a wild and dangerous
chaotic
day out there today with remnants of Hurricane Ida passing through our area. Our coverage continues in just a moment. Please stay with us.
Yeah. Okay. I'll wait for a little bit. Yeah, so we'll go to kind of like a wide shot of the cars, and then you can focus on the black car.
Hi, check, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Hello, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Well, the severe storms also brought heavy rain today, leading to flooding concerns.
That's right. Alexa Ashwell's live in Fells Point. Always an area that deals with flooding when we get big storms. Alexa, how is it in that location?
Okay, hi, Mary. Just in the past 5 minutes, the rain picked back up here in Fells Point. I want to show you an area. I'm standing on the promenade now. Here on Thames Street, it's an area prone to flooding, and it is doing just that. I want to show you. This is Thames Street, just east of Wolf Street in downtown Fells Point. And take a look at these cars, how much the water has risen. You can see just on the bumper there, the water. Follow the car to the front there. And I want to point out this driver's side wheel here, you can see the water halfway up on that rim there. I looked over into the front of the license plate. The license plate is covered. So drivers, if you're listening here in Fells Point, move your car. As for the rest of Fells Point, not too much flooding in that area. We did take a loop around this historic district here just about an hour ago. We do know Caroline and Alisana, that's another area that is prone to flooding. Not sure what it looks like at this very moment. But again, right now, the rain coming down. And Kai Mary, one thing I want to point out to you, Ruth, if you want to pan this way, this is an area I walk often, and we can definitely see how much the water has risen here on the promenade area. The water rough, the wind coming in, and now the rain coming in here at an angle, though. So wanted to give you guys a look at this area. Again, this is Thames near Wolf Street. These cars, portions of the car here underwater. So if your car is in this area, we do suggest that you move it. Back to you.
All right, Alexa, thank you. The city did send out warnings last night. They were giving out free sandbags, but to move your cars to higher ground. Those folks clearly didn't get that message.
It's tough, without a doubt.
Well, now to Howard County, where many are concerned about flooding, of course, in Ellicott City.
Our Amy Simpson is live right now with the latest right there. That's an area that has been devastated by severe flooding over the years. Amy?
Mary Kai, they know that threat all too well here in Old Ellicott City. We've been tracking the levels here on the Patapsco River. We have seen the water rise over the last 2 hours that we've been here, but it's still honestly at a pretty comfortable level. What we're really seeing here is that many of the businesses have shut down for the day, called it a day, and gone home. There's no parking signs up and down the road. I'll have Rocky pan over this way so you can take a look. For starters, I'll show you Georgia Grace Cafe right here at the bottom of Old Ellicott City. They have a floodgate right at their front door, and the business right next door also has part of its business boarded up for the rest of the day. And a lot of the businesses also have sandbags out in front. And other than some of these businesses that have closed, there's a couple of cars coming through for their commute home, but otherwise it's mostly a ghost town. And as you said, Ellicott City does know all too well the threat of very severe flooding. They've had two 100-year floods in the last 5 years. The first was in 2016, then another again in 2018. And so they are for sure taking these precautions seriously. We'll check back in as conditions change throughout the evening. Guys, back to you.
Amy Simpson, thank you. Live in Ellicott City. So good to see that the situation there, Kai, is stable right
After
now.
what we've seen over the years, that's so much better, so much better. And this is a Fox 45 Weather Alert Live look. We are under a tornado and flash flood warning, or watch, excuse me, a watch as the remnants of Ida bring heavy rain. We're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back.
One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Fox 45 is on weather alert today. Just into our newsroom, take a look at this picture. A home in Edgewater, Anne Arundel County, with its roof, the top half of the house really sheared off, Mary.
That's right. We're told it's near a golf course and that there is other damage in that neighborhood. Somebody else tweeted that there are cars that are flattened, so lots of damage across our region tonight.
Well, the National Weather Service confirms a tornado near Annapolis.
We're going to get right to Chief Meteorologist Jonathan Myers. He's been following the storm all day long. Joins us with the latest. Jonathan.
And we're going to pray and hope that folks were not injured or even, God forbid, killed by this tornado, because, I mean, you look at that type of damage on that home there, and you see some of the, or listen about some of the damage that happened to some of the cars getting crushed by debris and by trees. It sounds like there could be more than meets the eye here. But again, we are going to be on top of this as the storms continue to roll through with the remnants of Ida. Of course, a tornado hitting the Annapolis area earlier this afternoon, about an hour and a half, 2 hours ago. Now we're kind of switching modes a little bit, although there still is a tornado watch that remains in effect until 7 p.m. this evening. We've got now flood warnings, flash flood warning in western portions of Carroll County until the 6 p.m. hour. Also a flash flood warning that continues Bel Air up to Elkton, Harford and Cecil counties, and also in extreme western portions of Carroll County as well as Frederick County until 5:30 p.m. There is a flash flood warning. Take a look at some of our radar estimates of rain. Swollen rivers, urbanized flooding, a big possibility, especially with that tornado producing line of storms here. 2 to 5 inches of rain reported there. And the real jackpots, as we were talking about yesterday, up near the state line. Look at those 6 to 7 inch amounts north and west of Westminster. For now, we have lost all of the tornado warnings, thankfully. You see here from Bel Air to Edgewood, that's where the last ones were. Those warnings are now dropped. Here in Baltimore, we still got some good rains coming down. We'll have to watch for more potential severe weather into the evening hours once again. And of course, we're going to be on top of this all the way through the afternoon and through 7 p.m. tonight when that watch expires. Guys?
Jonathan, thank you. We are turning to deadly flooding in Montgomery County. We know a 19-year-old man was killed, and crews are still searching for another missing person at this hour.
Kevin Lewis with our Sinclair sister station in Washington, D.C., is live in Rockville, Montgomery County tonight. Kevin, what's the latest?
Well, Kai and Mary, from the county executive to the former director of the county's Office of Emergency Management, people are truly puzzled about how this all happened overnight. This entire grassy area turned into a retention pond, and simply put, it is not supposed to. The water was covering air conditioning units, utility boxes, and in the most extreme cases, came within 4 inches of the ceiling in the basement units. Lots of rescues unfolding here between 4 and 5 this morning. Now, all questions turning to how did this happen? Now, I should point out there is a creek in a neighboring park, and that creek empties into a culvert. The culvert runs below this apartment complex. One working theory is that there were objects in the culvert that were obstructing the water flow, and that the water rose over a rock wall and then poured into the parking lot, ultimately into the basement units here. These are some of the folks we spoke with throughout the day.
And then we heard that they were yelling out, "Help, it's flooding." And that's when we checked outside, and it was flooding, and it was rising really quickly.
Right now, we're hoping that this person was not at home. We're hoping that this person may have been visiting relatives or something right now, but we do not know.
I think our biggest role is to figure out where this came from and why it came now, because this is not like we haven't had extraordinarily heavily rains, even recently, and this didn't happen, and we've had hurricanes before, and this didn't happen.
And we understand that rescuers cut a hole in the floor of a first-level unit, all to access people that were trapped below in a basement unit. Meanwhile, other rescuers used inflatable boats to pull people out of windows. You have to remember, this all played out during the overnight hours when most people were asleep. They woke up to water rushing into their homes. To recap here, a 19-year-old man is dead. A second person is still unaccounted for. We're live in Rockville. I'm Kevin Lewis. Back to you in Baltimore.
What a freak and devastating situation.
Absolutely horrible.
And, you know, we showed that video to our viewers. We couldn't comprehend that all of that water was rushing into a basement unit of an apartment complex.
And Kevin tells us that apparently something that should have been moving that water out of the area got clogged, and so it overflowed and moved down the hill into that apartment.
You just think about all the debris that's out there. And we're going to just take another look at this video. This is what we were watching. We see all this water rushing into basement apartments, and fire crews had people trapped. They opened the floor of an apartment right above that. That is just, again, this is in Rockville, Montgomery County. We have one man who died, a 19-year-old. Look at
this here, Mary. Of course,
and the aftermath.
Depth of that water.
And I can't even imagine the number of people that are displaced from this.
It has to be significant. It really does. And nearly 200, our producer Meredith is telling us that are displaced. And again, hats off to fire and rescue crews with Montgomery County. There they are on their inflatable rafts for doing their best, obviously, to get people out, anybody trapped, and of course to search for any victims trapped.
It happened overnight. Now we saw that the water has receded, but the cleanup continues. All right, now we're going to go to Harford County, where emergency crews are standing by.
Yeah, our Shelley Orman joins us live. She's been in Harford County. And now, Shelley, Mary and I know you've been monitoring what would appear to be some type of swift water rescue, or at least to determine if someone needed to be rescued.
Yes, Kai and Mary, we are here on Pine Road. This is right off Pulaski Highway. It flooded out as fire crews and first responders, there's an ambulance right there, they were on a medical call back here in this neighborhood while they were responding to a house that's a ways back there. The road flooded out. So we've got the raft right here, 8 members here suited up of their TRT team, their technical rescue team here in Harford County. They helped guide the fire truck out, and then Harford County, this dump truck that's sitting here in front of the ambulance backed up through those floodwaters, and they went in front of the ambulance, and that was able to make its way through this flooded road right here. But the good news is right now, nobody needed to be medically evacuated out of here. But this is just giving you an idea of the rain, the flash flood warnings that we're under, just how dangerous it can be, because if someone's in a medical situation, time is of the essence to get to the hospital. The flooding, this could be catastrophic and disastrous. So they were here just in case the first responders, medical teams, they needed assistance making it through the water. We have seen some people coming here, parking, and people getting out of their cars who live in this neighborhood. One woman trying to get her son from his daycare, which is back there. Another lady said her house is 2 houses down, but she just can't go home right now. And she said this area does typically flood when there's rain, but not to this extent, not where you just can't drive through. And this is where we are. We're just feet from Pulaski Highway. They have shut down that road. They put signs there, emergency crews blocking people from turning down here. I was working to get an interview with the head of the technical rescue team, but he's trying to see where they have to head to next, because he said they have 3 or 4 calls going on right now, because while they're doing this rain is just still coming down, so that floodwater not going anywhere. So it can be a very serious situation out here, and we'll keep you guys updated. But the good news right now, they were not needed to get off their boat, but they did help the fire crews and the ambulance, the personnel in there, make it through those floodwaters. But a very busy day right here. But at least for this situation, under control, and you can see the ambulance driving out right now. So that's the very latest here. Back to you guys.
All right, Shelley Orman, we saw those crews pulling out in the swiftwater rescue onto the next assignment, whatever that is, because they're getting calls.
Some good news in that situation, at least, right, Mary?
Absolutely.
All right. Well, many, of course, are sharing and posting the pictures and videos of all this severe weather.
That's right. Maxine Stryker live in our breaking news center, sharing the best storm videos that we've seen. And Maxine, there are so many of them. We have some new ones that have come in.
There's a lot of them, and if you've been listening to Jonathan for the past few hours, he said it's actually pretty rare to get this many videos of actual tornadoes, and there have been some incredible ones. Let's start here. This is one of the most incredible pictures we've seen. The damage on West Street, and this is where we've seen the most damage. This is right in Annapolis tonight. You can see several businesses. The Safe Light there had the front of their business just sheared off by the powerful winds, and a McDonald's sign, a couple fast food restaurants and other businesses damaged there as well. Check out this video here from Melanie Newman. She said Andrew ran out, a friend, or presumably maybe her husband, ran out and got this video before coming inside, and you can see the debris just swirling around in the air there as that tornado came through. It appears to be coming off of a building. You can see right here in this part of the video as it just is flying through the air. Let's take a look at this one here from Robbie. It says tornado on the ground. It appears to be over a marina. I believe this was in the Edgewater area, but you can see it there in the distance, just dark as it comes rolling through. And we heard from people in the Annapolis Edgewater area as this was happening who said it sounded, of course, like a freight train coming through, and it was very, very scary and intense moments. We do know everyone that has sent in these videos that we've found is okay and not harmed tonight. So just praying for the safety of everyone who was affected by these tornadoes. Here's just one more to take a look at in Annapolis. And as Ida moves into our area and is here, we want to see what it's like in your neighborhood. Most importantly, though, please, if you can, safely, that's the key word, safely take pictures and videos. Send them to us if you can. Just point your phone camera at the QR code on the screen. It will take you directly to our website, foxbaltimore.com/chime-in, where you can upload your pictures and videos. It's powered by Stakla. Mary and Kai.
Thank you. Remember, you can track the changing conditions in your neighborhood with our free Weather Authority app. Just go to the App Store, search WBFF to get started.
A Fox 45 weather alert. Our team of meteorologists tracking the remnants of Ida as it could bring another tornado and more flash flooding. Stay with Fox 45.
Yeah, we're ready. Oh, you want to do now? Okay. Can you do it?
Yes.
All right, hold on.
Fox 45, we are on weather alert right now. What's left behind of Ida is bringing heavy rain, causing flooding. We saw tornadoes pass through as well earlier today.
Now, that heavy rain is leading to flooding concerns.
Right, Alexa Ashwell back live in Fells Point right now. Alexa, give us an update on where the water is rising.
Yes, so in the past 15 minutes, the rain picked up, it slowed down, and it's picking back up. We can hear it now. So this is Thames, and you can see near the promenade. This area is prone to flooding, and it is flooding. Just 15 minutes ago, we showed you these cars, how high the water has risen up to those levels. Certainly some damage there likely to that black car all the way out past the midsection of the rim there. We have watched in the past 15 minutes a number of drivers drivers take a turn here and then realize, wow, this water is really too high to pass through, and it is. You certainly want to be careful out here, and so they've gone ahead and turned around. Our photographer being brave here, taking a step into the water just to give you a really good look at just how deep it is. I would say a solid 6 inches, Ruth. What would you say here? Maybe even more. In terms of how much water has accumulated. To give you an idea, we're about a block from, 2 blocks, I should say, from Broadway Square, near Wolf Street on Thames Street. Again, this area prone to flooding, but to this degree is not super common. Of course, we've had a lot of rainfall here throughout the day that has accumulated here. Other parts of Fells, we're not seeing too much flooding. I would say that this is certainly the worst here. So if you're in this area, I would certainly check where your car is parked. Here on Thames, I would certainly suggest moving them at this point. It's clear the dark car there likely has damage. So that's the latest here, Kai, Mary, in Fells Point. Light rain picking up on and off, some wind, but certainly want to take it slow out there. Back to you guys.
All right, Alexa Ashwell reporting live from Fells Point. We are on weather alert, and right now the remnants of Ida are bringing heavy rain. Chief Meteorologist Jonathan Myers is tracking the storm in 15 seconds.
This isn't just mealtime. This is mealtime with Lido Pizza. We're talking homemade dough and serious toppings, baked to perfection. When you bring home Lido Pizza, you're bringing home a family favorite. Order online now at lidopizza.com.
Yeah, and Kai, now we're kind of shifting gears a little bit. We've obviously had a rash of tornadoes all the way from Annapolis up to about Fort Howard out of that line of storms rolling through. And we're going to check on the radar here in a second. But flash flood warning now is in effect for portions of Harford and Cecil counties, as well as western Carroll County, all the way back out to Frederick County. So the first one is in effect until 6:30 p.m. That's in central and western portions of Carroll County. Then in Harford and Cecil, that's until 6:30. And also a flash flood warning continues for extreme western Carroll County into Frederick County, and that ends at 5:30 p.m. I've had some reports on from folks on Twitter saying in the Bel Air area that their sump pump can't keep up. The water's actually coming through the drain canister and coming out the top. So some just absolutely tropical downpours on top of the damage that we saw down Annapolis way and also the confirmed tornado at Fort Howard. 2 to 5 inches of rain has come down in just the past several hours, up to about 5 inches, not too far from where that tornado touched down at Fort Howard, about 2.5 inches here in Baltimore, about 1.8 inches, not too far from the tornado touchdown at Annapolis. And the big winners, or maybe we won't say winners here, but the jackpot rain totals from Frederick all the way up to north and west of Westminster, up to about 6.5 inches of rain. And still, I mean, just unbelievable. They cannot get a break here in Annapolis. Another line of just really nasty-looking thunderstorms coming through Annapolis to Ashcroft, Essex, here in Bel Air. In Baltimore City, we've been primarily saved the worst of this, but then we go down south, and the southern portion of that line that produced a tornado in Annapolis that now is moving its way up into Pennsylvania is dragging some cells across the area south and east of Cambridge, where we've got a tornado warning that continues till 5 p.m. this evening there. So if you're going down the ocean, you're going to be dealing with that potential of tornadoes down that way now. Here in Frederick to Winchester, back to Warrenton and Front Royal, as we put on the national mode of the radar, you'll see that there's still some banding of the rain going on here. That's kind of the back edge at this point. So we still have a couple more bands to get through till this ends. There still could be a spin-up tornado all the way through about 7, 8 o'clock this evening. Then beyond that, I think it's just more so heavy rain. And then that eventually should taper by about midnight and move away. And we'll talk about that on the future scan in a second. Now, out in the tropics, still a couple of things that we're watching. Larry is a tropical storm that could become a major Category 3 hurricane as it moves over the central Atlantic over the next several days. And then right near Honduras, there's a low chance, a 30% chance of development that could eventually become something in the southern Gulf of Mexico. Right now it's 77. It's raining pretty good on the Mile 1000 cam. In the next couple of hours, you see that big band of rain moving east by about 7:45, 8 o'clock. The worst of this is pushing east by 10 p.m. Still Harford County and Cecil County getting it. But after that, There we go. Look at these temperatures falling down into the 50s to near 60. A totally different day tomorrow. We'll have highs in the 70s, much drier weather, and looks like that's going to continue as we head into Friday as well. So for tomorrow, cooler day, high 78 degrees on Friday. Cooler, drier weather continues. 79 on Saturday. Great looking days heading into the Labor Day holiday weekend. Slim chance of a shower on Sunday. 83 on Monday for Labor Day. Again, there could be a spritz, but overall nothing to ruin plans, and 80s into next week as well. Of course, we're going to have the continuing coverage on the tornadoes and flooding threat coming out of Ida in a couple of minutes.
Well, we want to see what it's like in your neighborhood. If you can safely take pictures and video of the severe weather, please send them in. Point your phone camera at the QR code on the screen. That will take you to our website, foxbaltimore.com/chime-in, where you can upload pictures and video. It's powered by Stackler.
Yes, we are here. Fox 5. He's not here yet. No.
$90 out. Okay, sounds good. All right. So Rocky, I'm gonna start by just giving the lay of the land, and then are you able to zoom into that sign?
Yeah, I think my it's a little buggy.
Your lens?
No, it's just my viewfinder. I think I'm good now.
Okay, but you should be able to zoom in to where it says.
Yeah.
Okay, sounds good. So I'll talk about that. And then if you want to zoom back out and come to me, and I'll do like a turn like this, and we can just go up the street. Does that work?
Yeah, that'll work.
All right, 30 out.
Well, as you know, we're on weather alert. We're going to go out to Harford County, where many are concerned about flooding in Ellicott City.
Amy Simpson is live there right now with the latest. Amy?
Mary Kai, Ellicott City knows this threat of severe weather all too well, dealing with 2 100-year floods in less than 5 years. So many of these businesses here in historic Old Ellicott City have closed up shop for the day. There's no parking signs up and down Main Street here. But I want to show you this sign that's on the front door of Phoenix Upper Main. Will be closed Wednesday, September 1st to ease the burden on our first responders in the event of an emergency, saying that they will reopen tomorrow. This was one business that was located further down Main Street in recent years, having to rebuild up on higher ground. I'll have you take a look farther up Main Street here in Ellicott City. We do see some commuters coming and going up and down this road throughout the last hour or so, but otherwise it is mostly a ghost town. Many of these businesses closed for dinner. I do think Lapa Lapa may be open for dinner tonight, but it is at this point just
lightly raining. We have seen different bands of rain come through the region. We've been tracking the levels of the Patapsco River down at the bottom of Main Street here. And it's risen slightly over the last few hours, but nothing of concern at this point. Of course, we are going to continue to stay on top of this. We'll let you know if things change. But I had an interesting conversation with one business owner when we first arrived here this afternoon. She pulled up next to us and she said, you know, I hope that you don't get a good story here in Ellicott City this afternoon, which also speaks to how seriously these businesses take this threat. Many businesses with sandbags in front as well. We'll check back in later on in the evening. Guys, back to you.
Yeah, and so far Ellicott City has been spared, but there's more heavy rain to come. Flash flood warning continues for western portions of Carroll County into Frederick County, also north and east of the city, and Cecil County, as well as Harford County, all through at least 5:30 or 6:30 this evening. We've seen, again, that area around Ellicott City where Amy's been reporting, they kind of got ripped off a little bit, and I'm sure they're not complaining. About an inch of rain maybe there, but east of that, 1 to 2, even locally 5 inches of rain, and that's where that tornado threat was as well, and the tornado touching down Annapolis way, and up to 6+ inches around Frederick, as well as west of Westminster up toward Tawnytown. The big rain continues to move east, but there's some more that's out to our west. I'm going to be tracking that through the evening coming up in the 5 p.m. hour.
All right, Jonathan, thank you. A confirmed tornado near Annapolis. In the past 2 hours, we've had several tornado warnings that have expired in our area, but we are on a tornado watch as we look at some of the video, Kai, that has come into our newsroom that we've seen on social media.
And look how the rain is kind of whipping and wrapping around. I warned my family, Mary, to get to the basement because we had that warning before I left the house. And we want to warn others, if you get these tornado warnings, and Governor Hogan tweeted this out earlier today, please take these warnings seriously. They are issued from the National Weather Service and then reconfirmed by your local meteorologist for a reason. Now, coming up on Fox 45 News at 5 o'clock tonight, we're going to take you live to Annapolis, where a tornado has left behind a lot of damage and cleanup to do, and a potentially explosive situation with a gas leak. Right now, you see our team of meteorologists, meteorologist Jasmine Lomax and Chief Meteorologist Jonathan Myers, updating the weather right now, getting the latest on the forecast, rain totals, and any new information from the National Weather Service. Again, we do have a flash flood watch in effect as the remnants of Ida bring storms and heavy rain. Stay with us.
Okay, Bob. Mic check. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. 1, 2, 3, 5. Mic. I'm sorry, sir.
You see the piece of building in
Live from WBFF in Baltimore, this is Fox 45 News at 5.
We are tracking severe weather as the remnants of Ida make their way through Maryland.
That's right. Already the storms have generated multiple tornado warnings and even reports of one tornado touching down in Anne Arundel County in really the center of Annapolis,
That's
West
right.
Street.
Yes. Let's get the very latest right now with Chief Meteorologist Jonathan Myers.
Yeah, and right now the extreme eastern portion of the eastern shore under the gun still with some tornado warnings. We'll get right into those in a second. For most of us, the problem is now switching from the tornado damage, which we still have to obviously clean up, south and east of Baltimore, over to the potential here of flash flooding. Take a look. We've got a flash flood warning that continues until 6:30 p.m. western half of Carroll County, and then that goes till 5:30 p.m. extreme western Carroll County out toward Tawnytown back to Frederick, and then from Harford County to Cecil County, there's a flash flood warning that continues until 6:30 p.m. this evening. So taking a look at the rain totals in the track of where some of those tornadic cells came through, there's 1 to 3, maybe locally 5 inches of rain or so. So that's enough to overwhelm some sump pumps. I actually got a tweet about that earlier on, about that in Bel Air, one of the homes, the sump pumps was just beginning to overflow. And then north and west of that up toward Tawnytown area back to Frederick, they've gotten some excessive rain, between 2 and 6 inches of rain up that way. Now, taking a look at the radar right now, I'm going to go ahead and stop the motion so you can get a picture of what's going on here on the extreme eastern and lower portion of the eastern shore around Federalsburg, all the way up to Denton and eastbound here into Delaware. It's the southern end of the line that gave us all the problems here in Annapolis. This batch of storms has a tornado warning with it now until 5:45 p.m. There's also another round of heavy rain and storms that's here toward Annapolis and Lakeshore. These poor folks trying to clean up now in the Bay Bridge all the way up to east of Severna Park and Riviera Beach, east of Essex. Big rain here, and then another batch of heavy rain around Hagerstown and Thurmont, Boonesboro and Leesburg. And that round still has to come through. And there still could be some scattered portions of the area that do have severe weather all the way through about 7 o'clock this evening when our tornado watches expire. So plenty to talk about and still lots of cleanup to get through. We're going to keep you prepared and safe coming up here, tracking the storm in a couple of minutes.
All right, Jonathan, thank you. Well, Fox 45 has crews moving across this area, keeping track of the storm's impact.
That's right. We're going to begin with Mackenzie Frost, who is in Anne Arundel County, Annapolis right there, where the first report of a confirmed tornado came in. Mackenzie.
Yeah, Mary Kay, we've been showing you the extensive damage here along West Street, and I want to give you the latest update. We just got a new update, so bear with me while I rattle off some of the information that we just got from officials here on scene. We do know that at least 4 buildings have confirmed severe damage. Those are commercial buildings. Right now, there are 2,500 people in the area without power, and you can still smell that gas leak. That's something that we have been talking about for at least an hour now. We also know that gas leak is still leaking right now, underground and above. Gas leaks happening right now. Just before we came on the air at 5 o'clock to right now, there was a torrential downpour, so no doubt that hamper the efforts to try and stop that gas leak. We also know, again, still no injuries reported, which is always a plus. The Red Cross is coming here to the Annapolis Gardens due to some roof damage on apartment buildings not too far from here. And again, the crews, the fire crews, the BG&E crews are still working to go through and canvass some of these buildings to make sure that no one is trapped inside. There was one person reported who was trapped, but they were able to get out safely. Again, no injuries. And now that the rain has stopped, those efforts to stop the gas leak can continue. We also know that Annapolis Mayor Buckley is on his way. We're expected to get another update from him in just a few moments. So hopefully we'll get some more information. But since the rain has stopped, you can really get a better sense of the damage. We still have down power lines. We still have debris all over the road. The road here is still closed. The people that we've talked to have really described what it was like when this storm and the tornado came through this area. I want you to take a listen to what one person said earlier this afternoon.
I first had to be careful walking around because a lot of the power lines were on the sidewalk and it looked like sticks. So I didn't want to get shocked. And then it was just so sad.
so sad. People are walking around trying to be careful. The fire officials here are trying to remind people to stay away from this area because of that gas leak that's still active right now. We'll be here and hopefully get some more information and more updates later this evening. But for now, I'll send it back to you guys in the studio.
All right, thank you, Mackenzie. We're going to shift now to Keith Daniels. He's at South River High School in Edgewater, where we have been looking at some of the damage near the football field. Keith?
Mary, a lot of damage. They're assessing a lot of damage here in this part of Anne Arundel County. We're live now at the 20-yard line here at South River High School. Lots of damage here. Just behind me, you can see part of the roof of the field here over there, and then up in that tree, part of the roof. And here's where it's all coming from. Look over here behind me. You see the concession stand. That's the field house. The field house. The roof blown off the building there. And over here to the left, you see uprooted trees. High winds, heavy winds, obviously, blew through here. I think the National Weather Service has confirmed that a tornado did blow through here, and this is just part of the damage left behind here at this South River High School football field. Some people have been coming and going to take a look at the damage. You see that woman over there in the blue shirt. She's among those people that are here coming to look at the damage. And then if you look over here on the field, this man said that he's a fan. He's a football fan. Over here to the right, you see him there on the field. He had to come and take a look. Again, just over his shoulder, in that tree, the roof from that field house, in that tree, and again, other parts of the roof over there against the fence, tree limbs and that kind of thing. If you listen quietly, or listen closely rather, you may be able to hear crews on the other side of there taking care of those trees that blew down. They're chopping them up and that kind of thing. The tree cutter is on the other side of this building, removing debris from that side of the building. So again, Mary and Kai, the damage seen clearly here at this football field. We're going to send it back to you guys now.
All right, Keith, thank you. And take a look at this unbelievable picture of a home, or really what's left of it in Edgewater, Anne Arundel County. The roof of the home, it's gone, sheared off completely.
Wow, what a mess. All right, now we again have a team of reporters around the area, Mary. We're going to go now to Alexa Ashwell. Alexa's been in Fells Point for some time examining that area, which is also prone to flooding.
That's right, and the water keeps rising where you are, it seems like.
Yes, we keep getting a little break from the rain and then it comes back, so definitely experiencing those showers. We've been posted up here on Thames Street where we have seen some flooding, and just 5 minutes ago, you know that if you've been following with us, there was a black car right here. That driver came, and thankfully the car did start. We know that's not always the case, likely with some water damage here, but you see these cars, just to give you an idea of how much flooding that we're really talking about right here. The water definitely has risen up to the wheel well there and beyond. We can see it's just right at the door there, so likely some water damage in that area. As for the rest of the Fells, we're not seeing too much right now. As you can see, we're under a little bit of an overhang right here right now, so not getting too wet, but rain still coming down. As for the promenade, we've seen in that section, the water has risen, and we are getting a little bit of wind here. I'm actually chasing my umbrella right now. Was doing a live shot here without it. But yeah, not too bad here. Wanted to give you guys a look. Some light rain here in Fells Point. As for flooding, this section of Thames Street near Wolf Street, you definitely want to avoid. Back to you guys.
All right, Alexa Ashwell live in Fells Point for us tonight, monitoring what's going on there.
Well, Fox 45's Maxine Stryker is in the studio with us right now, monitoring everything, Mary.
That's right, lots of videos coming in. Maxine?
Lots of videos and pictures. These are some of the most incredible pictures that we've seen is from that damage along West Street. Power lines down, trees down. And as we just heard from Mackenzie, amazingly, when you look at a picture like that, it's amazing to hear that nobody was injured. But we're very thankful to hear that news tonight. Take a look at this new video in here from Pete Medhurst. You can see the tornado coming in the distance there as they're taking some photos and videos, but just that dark funnel cloud there in the Edgewater, Annapolis area. This also here in the Edgewater area, tornado damage in South River Colony neighborhood. We are seeing, we just saw that video, or the picture with the home with the roof sheared off, and we're seeing some more rural damage like this as well, not just there on West Street. A lot of trees down, uprooted in these neighborhoods throughout Edgewater. Here's a closer look where we just saw Keith Daniels, South River High School. You can see there's a massive tree there. We know they're there working to cut them up right now. And we know this was the field house now where you're looking at the roof sheared off from there. South River High School football stadium. And here, this is from Melanie Miller. She says, so many sirens coming from the south to help on West Street in Annapolis with fire trucks and ambulances. We know a massive response there tonight on the ground as they work to clean up and control that gas leak, which is still an issue there along West Street in Annapolis. We thank you for all the pictures and videos you're sending in. Remember, if you have any pictures and videos to send to us, make sure that you are taking them safely. Of course, it is not worth your life just to send a picture in, so be careful out there. Mary?
Maxine, thank you. As Ida moves through our area, we would like to see what it's like in your neighborhood, some of the aftermath. And as Maxine just said, if you can safely take pictures and videos of the severe weather, send them in. Point your phone camera at the QR code on your screen. That'll take you directly to our website, foxbaltimore.com/chime in. Then you can upload your pictures and videos really easily. It is powered by Stackla.
Now we're getting a better look at the damage this storm system has left behind in Louisiana. When it hit landfall as the 5th strongest storm in American history. You can see the high water damaging St. Bernard Parish. Government crews had to cut into several canals to release water out of that area. And take a look at the level of devastation on Grand Isle, Louisiana. Close to 1 million homes still don't have power, as scorching temperatures now threaten to make life without air conditioning almost impossible, if not dangerous. So far, it's not clear exactly how many people may be trapped in their homes because some areas still are inaccessible to rescue crews. And this is a look right now at incredible image right now in St. Bernard Parish outside of New Orleans. That is a cow that was swept away by raging waters, and it's lodged in this tree, wedged between branches. Well, after cutting the limbs of the tree, the cow was managed to be rescued safely. So some good news to report to you there.
That's great.
Now, we do continue our team coverage of this strong and dangerous weather system. We'll go back to Annapolis, where a tornado has created a potentially explosive situation because of a gas leak.
And we're not done just yet. Tornado warning continues for portions of the southern and eastern portion of the extreme eastern shore. I'm going to let you know how long we're going to have severe weather threats and flooding out of Ida's remnants in a couple of minutes.
I can hear you. Can you hear me now? Yes. My camera is on. I don't know what's going on. No, the light was on a minute ago. Now it's out. No, the camera, it's open. I just flipped the switch back and forth to see it open. Let me stop the video and start it again, I guess. Okay. I literally didn't do anything but turn it off and on. So sometimes that works. Yeah.
Fox 45 News, winner of 18 2021 Regional Emmy Awards, more than all other local news stations combined.
Our coverage of severe weather continues right now as we track very intense and dangerous weather moving through the area.
And joining us for joining us. Give us an update on some of the trouble areas out on the roadway.
I can tell you right now, our crews are responding to at least 20 road closures tied to weather throughout the state, particularly Western Maryland, the Baltimore region, and Anne Arundel County. So it has been a busy day for our crews, and it will be a busy evening as well.
And what would you like to tell people who might be out tonight about